Think and Grow Rich.
Think like a rich person, think like a successful person, and you will be one.
Think and grow rich.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
This is how you train your mind to think rich, because your money will follow your mind, and God did not create you to live in poverty. There are two things you can do, and the first one is to understand who you are and tell yourself repeatedly, because whatever fills your mind is eventually who you become, and if you don't tell yourself who you are, somebody else will. A child who's been told he's dumb his entire life will not only believe it, but also act as if he is. Scriptures tell us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your true character is defined by your innermost thoughts and beliefs of who you are, because those two things are always followed up by action. The second thing you can do is put this into practice by getting very good at identifying other people's gifts and their talents and who they are, and telling them repeatedly. Not only are you training your mind, you're training somebody else's mind, but you're also becoming a leader that people actually want to follow.
Thoughts are extremely powerful. You have to be able to think and grasp that you can do it. You got to write down goals. Put them on your mirror if you need to. Put them on your refrigerator. You can put them as the screensaver on your phone, but read them constantly, and you want to write them down so you reinforce those goals consistently.
But guys, I had the Lambo hat before I bought a Lambo. I have the Richer Mill canvas before I get my Richer Mill. I had the AP watch clock before I bought an AP. I had the penthouse in my vision board for 4 years before I lived in a penthouse. Now I have the Black American Express rug before I get my Black American Express card. Guys, it is all a subconscious trick. Trick your subconscious into thinking you have these things by surrounding yourself with these things, because it's all in energy. And if you can keep believing that you have it, in due time, you'll get these things.
Money does not exist. Did you know that? I learned that years ago from a very wealthy man. I was free from money that day. He says money is an idea. It's in your head. It's an idea. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. Think and grow rich. We keep thinking if we work, we grow rich. He said, no. You're supposed to work for riches. You're supposed to work for purpose.
The moment you start thinking and acting rich, it's when you'll eventually get rich. Because your mind is so powerful that it rewires your brain to think, talk, and what you surround yourself with, so it forces you to keep working on the goal, whether it's making 10K a month, 100K a month, or even $1 million a month. So if you're in a position where you just hate it and want to get out of there as soon as possible, trick yourself into believing that you're making 10K a month, 100K a month, or even millions, and just take massive immediate action, even if it's messy or imperfect. Because money rewards momentum and speed, not for those that are waiting for the perfect opportunity to start. Start surrounding yourself with people and environments that align with your goal, and eventually your mind will become so hyper self-aware to know what not and what not to do when you're chasing a goal of making a shit ton of money. That is actually the most fastest way to become eventually rich. I suggest you all to start now and don't look back.
The one that really changed my life, Think and Grow Rich. There's one part in here that I found a classic. It's on persistence. See, if you persist, you can do anything. He said there may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to the character of the human like what carbon is to steel. There are 4 simple steps which lead to the habit of persistence. They call for no great amount of intelligence and no particular amount of education and but little time or effort. Here's the 4 steps. Number 1, a definite plan or a definite purpose backed by a burning desire for its fulfillment. Number 2, a definite plan expressed in continuous action. Number 3, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestions of relatives, friends, and acquaintances. And number 4, a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage you to follow through with both plan and purpose.
You might be too smart for your own good and you don't even know it. Think about every business professor in a university. Technically, they're the smartest PhDs in business. They have no money because they overanalyze, they overjudge, they over-criticize, they know too much. If you want to be rich, there's only two things you need to have. One, an unreasonable amount of confidence, meaning that you are confident in your beingness and your decisions, outsized to any level of accomplishment. And two, the ability to take risks, what I call being fearless. Most wealthy people have both of those because of their ignorance. They start companies that they shouldn't have started because they didn't know how hard it would be. Very few rich people are actually smart. They're way dumber than you think.
You save up $10,000 and ask yourself, how long can I keep this in my bank account for? How long can I keep this money saved up? I save up $10,000 and I ask myself, how fast can I get this out of my bank account and invest it into myself where I can make more money? We are not the same. We are not the same. What do you expect to happen if you keep $10,000 just sitting there laying around in your bank account? It is decreasing value second by second, hour by hour, day by day, and it is doing nothing. Make your money work for you. You get $10,000, invest half of that into a mentor or a business that you can make more money with, and you will make more money in the long run. Stop thinking like the sheep. Stop thinking like an average person and try to keep money. Stop being stingy and get rid of it so it can make you more money. Invest more into yourself, because that is the only way that you will be able to acquire wealth. That is the only way. Think like a rich person, think like a successful person, and you will be one. Stop thinking like an average Joe Smo who works a 9 to 5 and keeps all his money saved up. Oh, I don't want to spend it. I can't spend this. I gotta save it. No, get it out of your bank account, make it work for you, invest into yourself, and you will be rich before you even know it.
You have to really want it though. Thoughts equal commitment. Commitment equal desire. Desire creates action. Learning never stops. You don't get to the finish line of something in life. Never let fear stop you. Fear should actually be a motivator. I love having a little form of what I call a healthy paranoia.
Psychologists have discovered a natural law which is the very foundation of all personal success. And I can describe it to you in one short sentence so you can understand. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Now, if you want evidence that the mind can achieve whatever the mind can conceive without the benefit of formal education, you only have to remember that Thomas A. Edison conceived the idea of becoming an inventor and lived to become the world's greatest scientist in the field of invention with only 3 months of common school education.
Rich people are typically more disciplined. They're typically checking their bank account every day. They're doing the little things that compound into huge results at the end of 10 or 20 years. And they're thinking in decades, not just what am I going to do this week. They're choosing investment choices for themselves in 10 years, 20 years from now, instead of choosing sports betting on the football match for £1,000, that night, because they know that their £1,000 working for them today will be worth 10,000, 20,000 in 10 or 20 years. So it's more just like a long-term mindset versus a short-term mindset.
Like delaying gratification.
Delaying gratification, yes.
The people who feel rich before they're actually rich are the ones who get rich. If you're relying on a pixel in your bank account for you to feel like you're rich and you made it, you'll never feel rich. Because rich isn't a number. Rich is a lifestyle. It's freedom, it's abundance, it's mobility. I know people with less than $100,000 in their bank account, but they have nothing tying them down. They have no expenses, no mortgage. They have nothing, so they have all of the mobility in the world. They can do anything they want because they have nothing tying them down. If you ask me, that is real rich. Sure, money helps, but you need to feel it before you see it for you to achieve it. You have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else believe in you? You gotta be delusional. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It just needs to make sense to you.
When you're young, focus on getting money. When you have the most energy, when you have the most time, the least responsibilities. I see so many people delay getting money until they're older, when they have kids, a wife, responsibilities. This isn't intelligent. Focus on hustling and grinding in your younger years. Once you have the money, then you can start having fun, once your money starts working for you. Until that point, don't be going out every single day partying and getting drunk. Focus on your responsibilities now.
What's the difference between the rich and middle class?
The middle class people are doing what they were told. These were probably your good students in school. These are probably the people who went to college and were told that if you got good grades, you'll get into a good college. If you get into a good college, you'll get a good career. And they're just kind of following the marching orders of what they were always told in their entire life, that you go work for 30, 40 years, you make enough money, you save for retirement, you pay off your house, and everything will be okay. And we see it all the time right now that you're not going to be okay. That might have worked when the life expectancy was 65 years old, but people living longer and longer, People are running out of money. The rich, on the flip side, have a different mentality. They believe they're entitled to earn a lot more money because they take absolute responsibility for their future. They probably weren't the best of students, a lot of them. They're probably outliers. They're entrepreneurs and visionaries who believe more in themselves than what they were told. So the rich people are going out trying to make a lot of money. The middle class, they feel like if they leave something to the future generation, that's great. But the rich, and I mean the super rich, they're thinking generational. Think about the Rockefellers, the Gettys, these families, the Vanderbilts that wanted to build fortunes to leave it to other people. It's entirely a mindset and a belief of what you're entitled to and what you could accomplish. That's the biggest difference between the rich and the poor. Some are following orders and being told what to do, and some are going out and breaking glass ceilings and accomplishing things on their own.
I want to talk to you about how to think richer. It's really tough to get rich if you think like a poor person. And we all know poor people. They're all over the place. So I'm going to just show you something here. This here is a gold Rolex Daytona. The younger people have no idea what Daytona means, but this was Paul Newman's watch and all this stuff. And I own 4 Daytonas. They go, oh, what a waste of money. That's how a poor person thinks. Why do I buy a $50,000 watch, let's say it is, and gold rings and all this? Well, the reason is because the national debt of America is through the freaking roof. We're going bankrupt. The way America, with our politicians, the way they solve their problems is they print money. One thing wrong with printing money: the rich get richer and the poor middle class get poorer. Let me explain this. When you print money, the price of assets go up. Like my apartment houses go up, the price of oil goes up and things like this. So what happens is you print money, the price of oil goes up, but so does the cost of a chicken. Because a chicken takes gas to get it to the supermarket. So you go to the supermarket, why is this chicken $10 today? Whatever it is. I don't pay attention to that stuff. But we're printing so much money. Today, this here is a solid gold watch. I've been buying gold since it was $50 an ounce. That's why I own gold mines. I don't like to fool around with too much stuff. I have real gold. I can take it, I can feel it. It's in a private vault hidden in some mountain not too far from here. But the reason why I buy this gold watch, let's say it costs $50,000. 5 years from now, what will this gold watch be worth?
If you pretend you're rich, you'll be rich. And then you just start doing rich things. And here's another one as well. When you stop listening to broke ass people and average people, like when you just stop listening to anybody other than yourself or someone who literally has the path and has done what you want to do.
Here's how you think rich, because rich people do think differently, and this is the way God intended it. But hear me out, there's a little trick to it. If you want to fall asleep, you first got to lay there, close your eyes, and pretend as if you're asleep, even when you're not. This applies to almost anything in life, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. If you want to be rich, you first got to act as if you're rich, even when you're not. And the wealthiest people that I know, wealth is more of a mental practice than anything. They view money in a complete abundance, even when it wasn't, even when they were broke and poor and just down in whatever it was, they still viewed money in abundance, and that's why they got to where they are. And there's a great quote by Robin Sharma which says, everything is created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. And yeah, this is a great quote, but it's more than just that. It's biblically sound. The Bible says where there is no vision, people perish. And especially in the business world, if we talk about faith in business, you hear this verse a lot, but I don't think we realize what perish means. Perish is not just a quiet disappearing. Perish, one of the quick definitions I found, was to suffer complete ruin. If you don't know where you're going, if it's not clear in your mind, even though you think you're fine, you don't know how bad it was until you get out of it. Living paycheck to paycheck, people end up in that cycle because they don't have a vision beyond it. Their vision ends with money. They have money, but they don't ever have abundance because they don't have a reason beyond the money. Rich people think differently. They do because they have reasons for what they want and why they want it.
Rich people are not rich because we have money. Rich people have money because we are rich. So becoming rich shows up before the money shows up. Now, what does that even mean? What happens is we have beliefs about money, and our beliefs create our life. And so what you believe about the primary purpose for money, and I left all my money in my closet in my office. Okay, so what I believe about the purpose of money is going to determine how much money I make, how much money I keep, how much money I have, whether or not my money's working for me or whether or not I'm working for my money. My beliefs are the thing that determine that.
So you made a lot of cash. You actually made a lot of money very young in your 20s.
Yes.
All right. What was the mindset? Can you give me a distinction, a difference between the way you and your friends thought? Because you had friends that also made a lot of money, right?
Yes.
Now that's another critical thing, because your income is the average of your 5 best friends. So you and your friends thought differently than, let's say, the losers that you knew as well, right?
Completely. And if you hang out with someone that likes to smoke weed, they're going to want you to smoke weed. You hang out with skateboarders, they want to go skateboarding. I was hanging out with business people and athletes and celebrities all the time, not because I ever cared about the athlete celebrity part of it. I cared about the way they moved, what they thought, what they bought, what they did. Like, I liked the concept of who they were, and I knew that they were the top 0.001% of humanity, right? To be an NFL player, regardless of what you think of them, they spent 14, 15, 18, 19 years of their life to become an NFL player, when so did 400,000 other kids that year.
They thought, and it got you thinking differently than the people that were unsuccessful. What is the difference in those two?
So when you're talking to someone that's working a 9-to-5 job, they can't even imagine or fathom going and having Costco owe you $2 million for 90 days. Like, they can't even, what does that even mean? Why would you give net terms to Costco? Versus the people that have been and lived and breathed it, the way they think about it is, how do they fix it? What can they do? What can they tell you? Who can they hook you up with and connect you with?
All right, so it sounds there's two things here. Number one, it sounded like you said that people who are unsuccessful have an inability to think big or dream.
Sure. They are completely complacent in where they are, and they're going to work for 38 years for those few companies. They will retire, and then they will die.
They don't have goals, they don't have dreams, they don't have objectives, they can't think big. You just said they can't even fathom to think that big. They can't think big, they can't dream big. And then the other thing you mentioned is the successful people are always thinking not about the problem, but the solution. How to fix it, and looking for ways to sort this out and win, even though it's a problem. They're not focused on the problem, they're focused on winning and figuring it out, right?
Absolutely.
The psychology of being rich, the feeling, when everyone says, hey, you want to manifest abundance, you got to feel it. I'm going to tell you exactly how you should be feeling. The most important things. It's not this. It's not the freaking cars. It's not the house. It's not the material things. The most important thing, at least for me, that I've always had it from day one, even when I had no money, I didn't worry about money. And I always felt that everything was taken care of. Now, the more money that I made, and now where I am now, I can't even remember the last time I looked at what filling up gas was, like groceries, even going out to dinner. It's like I'm always taking care of everybody. Like, I will pay for everything. I'm like that in general anyway, even when I had nothing. But I don't worry about money, and that's the biggest key. You gotta stop worrying about it. You gotta stop reacting. You gotta stop going in there, I gotta change this, I gotta react to this, the 3D this or that. You gotta just be the observer. When you observe life, that's when you create it. And then if you just are always like, hey, I have everything I need, which you do, at every moment you have what you need, and if you focus on that, I'm telling you, every single one of you watching right now, you can become so rich, and you already are so rich. You just have to tap into the relaxation, the feeling of it, where you're not desperately needing more. You're not desperately worried about stuff. Stop thinking about, oh my God, this is too expensive, that's too expensive. Relax. Stop reacting. Start observing.
Okay, here's someone no one tells you about money. And to know this is literally the life hack of the century, because it completely reframes what it's like to have money and sets you up to actually think like a rich person. When you think like a rich person, you take actions like a rich person, you get the results of a rich person, you get the point. But in a sentence, the people that are successful, that make the biggest companies and make the most money, simply are open to feeling a much wider range of emotions than poor and middle class people. Let me explain. When you're making a whole bunch of money, you got a whole bunch of employees, you got a whole bunch of stuff going on in your life, and you're generating that much value for so many people that you got a whole bunch of money coming in, you start to feel higher highs than the average person and lower lows than the average person. And that's the one that's actually important, is the lower lows. Because most people look at the results a rich person has, flying first class and living in a mansion or living on the beach, whatever it is they got, and they think that's what being rich is about, is just the results. When in reality, that person fucking grinded to get there. They went through so many emotions, so many ups and downs and failures and emotional turbulence and storms in their life to get there. And by the way, no rich person, no super successful person hasn't gone through the shit. They've been forced to have the capacity to hold a much wider range of emotions. Whereas poor and middle class people start to butt up against hard emotions, negative emotions, challenging situations, and then they run the other way, which stops them from being consistent and therefore reaching what is really delayed gratification of success in the end rather than something great in the moment and only going after success after success after success. So how much frustration are you willing to deal with? How much pain are you willing to go through? Because if you want the highs, you're going to get the lows. I'm a money mentor. I specialize in helping people get through the lows, and everything I do is for free. There's a link in my bio. Enjoy.
Hard work won't guarantee you success, but comfort, that'll guarantee you mediocrity. You gotta be willing to wake up every day and go to work and work hard. Getting rich and becoming successful, whether it's physical fitness, making a lot of money, being the most brilliant surgeon out there, these are all very hard things to accomplish, and they take a lot of work. And far too many people forget that, and they think that the success is overnight. Success doesn't happen that way. It takes a lot of hard work. I'm a perfect example right now. I've been doing real estate for over 27 years. I own a lot of real estate, and right now I'm working on a deal. And while most of my friends are off in Central Pay and Ibiza and Mykonos having the time of their life, I'm in the office in Hollywood putting in 10-hour days. And that's what it's going to take to get my deal done. That's hard work. And it's really hard work when you're watching all your friends have fun and you know you could be there too. But the rewards are worth it. That's why I make the sacrifice. And that's why you have to make the sacrifice too. So when your friends want to go out and party every single night of the week, or they want to go to the beach on the weekends, you got to put that stuff behind you if you want to be successful. And remember what a wise man told me. If you're willing to work harder than anybody else for the next 5 years, you'll never have to work for the rest of your life. But if you're not willing to outwork everybody for the next 5 years, you're going to work hard for the rest of your life.